Hello, everybody. It is Professor Rocco, your boy here, coming at you once again with another Age of Sigmar video. Now, this one we're putting in our general tips, episode 6 here. Though, to be fair, everybody of every skill set should be listening to this one, watching it on the YouTube here, and liking and subscribing the video and sharing with your friends, too. Yeah, I said it at the beginning. Here we go. So, today's topic is one that gets asked a lot, and it's, how do I improve? And for me, I always defer to people a lot smarter and wiser than me who say you always learn more from your losses than you do your wins. You definitely find out what works and what doesn't after a while. And that's the mindset that I want you coming to this class to take away from this. We're going to learn from our losses, and that is tough. Because first you got to get your ego out of the way. You got your butt handed to you. And two, instead of just being on the face value of, oh, I should have rolled better, how do you actually dissect that loss? So today we're going to give you some tips and some tricks here to help you on your way. And we're going to start off with a general strategy for how to analyze this, for all the eggheads like me that like saying it's analysis. Well, the first thing you should do, talk to your opponent after the game. Be like, hey, bud, listen, great game. What do you think I could have done better? You know, what part of my army were you worried about? What were you worried about that I could have done in the game where I could have clawed this back? You know, what units of mine were you worried about? What units of mine did you not care about? Why? Because they're gonna have a completely different idea of what your army does than what you do. Because it's like when you write a story, you need an editor to go and point out stuff because you've got spelling mistakes all through the thing, but you're so hyper focused on what it should be, you don't necessarily see it for what it is. And also, I like having a debrief. It's part of the reason why my wife knows so much about Warhammer. I'll just go to her and I'm like, hey, listen, I know you really don't know much about this, but I gotta tell you about my game. I need fresh eyes. And then eventually, from all that, she started learning a lot about Warhammer, and now she'll be able to talk about it better than me half the time. And you know what? She'll be like, "Oh, you didn't do this," or "Oh, they did this," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah," because I'm too close to the source material. I need that outside perspective. And also, I'm just gonna look over my rules and stuff to see if there's anything I forgot, any buffs or anything of that nature that I could have used in my game that would have helped me out in the end. Now, next, we're gonna break this down into two sections here. Number B, I know what I said. It's a joke. Number B here. Tip number 2. Did you lose or concede prior to the start of Battle Round 3? Now, why is this important? Well, if you lost in Battle Rounds 1 or 2 and you just like, I concede, I give up, I'm tapping out, you are stopping yourself from learning more throughout the game to see if you can even come back from that position. You know? Maybe you're surrounded, maybe you've been taken out, you lost half your army. You're like, okay, well, if I don't play this out, I'm never going to learn if I even have the capacity to play out of this hole that I dug myself in. Can I even make it close, or is it just going to be more of a butt whooping over and over here? Sometimes like I've played a game where I was in a tournament and a guy conceded. So he had top of battle round 1, I had bottom of battle round 2. I got the double turn. Halfway through my shooting phase, he conceded because he thought I was going to do this whole big convoluted plan and wipe out his heroes and it was game over. And I was never going to do that at all. What the thing that he had, I had no clue. I couldn't even physically do it. He just conceded so much. Got the TO, said he conceded, give me the points. I couldn't even say no. And I was playing for money, so I was gonna be like, yeah, yeah, you did it. I did it. Yay! He conceded way too early, and it cost him the tournament, and it ended up winning it. I ended up winning it easily because of that, thanks to him. But that doesn't mean you should concede right away, because you don't know what's going to happen. This is a dice game. Clutch rolls can happen to take you out of the muck. You could play out your mind and still lose, but that's why we play. But if you give up halfway through the turn, it's just not going to go well for you. And you're never going to learn to see if you even can have a chance. Uh, you know, Next is, are you playing a new army? Like, are you trying some brand new build or something out and you're losing this early? Don't give up hope on your stuff, on your grand strategy, your plan, whatever. Play a few games. I suggest playing 5 games before you start changing stuff out and seeing what's going on. Because if you're playing something brand new, you don't know how it works yet or how it responds to different scenarios you can find yourself in a game. And, let's say, like, everyone tells you the Maw Crush is good. You play one game and it just dies immediately. You whiffed every hit roll. That is a statistical improbability because that just doesn't make sense that I even said that out loud. And if your one playthrough with the Maw Crusher was that, and then you never give it a chance again, you are never going to see why it is so good and why everyone's so high on it. And you're just shooting yourself in the foot before you even give it a chance. Give yourself that chance. It goes back to the thing before. We're building up on these here. Don't give up on yourself too early. Give yourself at least 5 games to figure out what you're trying to do, because you didn't even know how to use the Maw Crusher. That you couldn't do the damage everyone tells you do, and you're doing like 4 damage a swing with its fists alone. But you're like, how? What's wrong with this? What am I doing wrong? Give yourself time to learn it. All right. So if it's an army that you're comfortable with playing, you got to ask yourself, what weaknesses in this list that my opponent exploited here? I lost in battle round 2, or I lost in battle round 1 even. It was horrible. I got alpha struck. They destroyed me. It's probably you deployed funky, or you still not used to playing your army versus other things, and you need a bit more experience with it. And we need to start rethinking our plans here. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, I play this army, it's an alpha strike army, I gotta go hard in the paint. And you as a player, that's not your play style, it's not comfortable for you, so you need to find a new way to do it that makes it sense to you. Because you shouldn't be, if you're playing a game and you're at equal skill levels here with your opponent, you shouldn't be losing the game in battle round 1 or 2. Something fundamentally is wrong there, and it's either your strat, like you deployed bad, or you don't have like the threat analysis of like, okay, I know my opponent needs X unit to live in order to win the game, and you just don't know that yet with your current army. Or even worse, you know you need your army to have X unit live, and then you're just not protecting it. You're just leaving it out in the open. Something's wrong. Something either in like movement, or you're not getting enough damage, so you need to work on buffs. That's when we start like, okay, now I need to start looking at my list and see if there's things that I could add to it and move on. Now we're gonna get on to my third point here. We did A, we did B. We're gonna go to point C. Third point: some tips if you lost after the start of battle round, like battle round 3 on. Because here's what you gotta ask yourself. All right, did I use my units correctly? Did I use them for the right purpose? Now, what do I mean by that? Because follow me here, camera guy. So, am I trying to make a hero that is not a combat hero have to hold my line, hold my stuff? I have to throw him or her up in the fray, and then they're dying horrifically. It's the Grot Shaman that I had to send in to go fight the Maw Crusher because I'm so desperate. There's a lot of things wrong with that sentence. And then my buddy who was like, "Oh, Maw Crushers suck, of course," and then he finally kills something. He's like, "Oh, oh, this is a nice fight. This is good." No, like, what am I doing wrong here? Am I, you know, do I need to adjust my battle plan too? Like, am I good the first, like, am I a good early game army, but I'm just playing this bad late game because I'm not used to being here? Am I playing to the scenario in this battle plan? Am I playing to the battle plan, or am I just trying to kill my opponent at this point? And just my bloodlust got me through the first 2 rounds. Because here's the thing: battle round 1, everyone should just be staring at each other. If your opponent has an alpha strike army, if you deployed right, they're not hitting anything important. Battle round 2, we're starting to see some fights because we've been posturing a bit, but there shouldn't be massive casualties yet. Battle round 3, this is where the fighting starts. This is where the meat's gonna go down here. This is where the clash happens. This is gonna hurt. Am I setting myself up for success where it comes down to a few dice rolls, or am I just moving my units badly and I'm not following this game plan in my head? You know, Is there a point where I can look back in this game where my opponent just blew me out of the water? Whether it's with scoring, whether it's with killing my stuff. Where did the game drop? That now that I pushed it into a battle round 3, battle round 4 game, where did that change in momentum happen? And how can I make sure that doesn't happen again against me? These are the things we got to look back on. Whether it was like, oh yeah, I picked this unit over here to go first in this order of activations, where I definitely should have picked the other one. And again, this is what late game threat priority did I go prioritize scoring? Could I have retreated out of a fight instead of leaving it up to chance, thinking that this unit could have just killed my opponent's stuff and I didn't have to fight it because I already had the objective? These are those fine-tuned things that we're trying to look for here. And you start looking back at this, you start learning, then you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And you know, when it comes to this kind of stuff to see if you're able to recover or not, it's going to take some time. These tips they're going to sound easy, but it's going to take a while to get into practice because we're doing this whole new mindset of how to play this game. And we got to take the whole the power fantasy of it out. It's not tabling your opponent. It is playing for objectives. And if we can actually be a little bit reflective and inflective of ourselves and what we're trying to accomplish with our stuff, we'll come out better for it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is Rocco, your girl, with your fun fact of the week.
Hey everyone, I'm Rocco Your Girl with my weekly segment. And this week I'm looking for your opinion. A while ago, on the last day of Warhammer Fest, we saw a teaser trailer for a new villain faction ambushing Sigmar's Faithful. Since we've had some time to digest this trailer, who do you think the glowing red eyes belong to? Could it be a callback to Fantasy Battle for a race that was never brought over, or something entirely new? Give us your thoughts in the comments. And now back to Rocco, ya boy.
Thank you, Rocco, your girl. And once again, folks, like and subscribe. And as I like saying every week, class dismissed.